go ahead and get started. All right. Shout out to Full Moon. The special council meeting for Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 is called to order at 7:05 p.m. We're going to first have a moment of silent meditation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call, Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Present.
Councilperson Erbaum.
Present.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Here.
Councilperson Winters will not be in today. Also present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Christia Lu, Village Manager, and I believe the attorney's running late.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, I believe Councilperson Winters, his flight got delayed or something. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Hearing none. Next is good and welfare, but you guys will be able to speak on the items, just one item anyway. So this is the first good and welfare of the meeting, and hearing, seeing none, let's move right to the agenda. Agenda items, so first we're going to do the discussion, and then from the discussion, we'll move to the resolution, which you see there is G1, and that's where we do the actual vote of the resolution, okay? So first we're going to do the discussion of the waste services, then we move to the resolution. Agenda item, Madam Manager, CFO Tubblefield, if you guys want to take over.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This September, at the end of this month, which is in 2 weeks or a week and a half, will be the end of our existing solid waste services contract with Coastal Waste and Recycling. In 2020, we entered into an agreement with them to provide our solid waste and bulk services, and because we didn't, extend, then I was tasked with doing an RFP, a request for proposals for solid waste services. 5 years of good service from Coastal, and in that request, it was done in August, we received 3 proposals. One is from Coastal Waste and Recycling, the other is Waste Management, who prior to Coastal being our solid waste provider, Waste Management has served with the village for 15 years. And we also had a proposal provided by Waste Pro. So the item that's before the council this evening is solid waste services in bulk. All 3 proposers are reputable and very good from what we've seen. I did convene a selection committee comprised of a resident, a business owner, and our public works director here in the village of El Portal. They all met individually and ranked the proposals based on the requirements that were set out in the RFP. And those ranking forms were provided, and we have on one side Coastal Waste and Recycling that came in at the lowest price, and we had Waste Management that was second to lowest, and then Waste Pro the highest at $42.85 a month per resident or per household. From there, from those prices and based on the services, the review committee or the selection committee determined that they preferred Waste Management as the service provider. So we are now, what's before us tonight is service and the selection of the committee being Waste Management, or do we go with the lowest price, which is Coastal Waste and Recycling? So it gives you some history, and if you have anything. I think we're all set if we're here for any questions. Oh, and I'm sorry, we also have representatives from those companies here to answer any questions, as well as the CFO and I are here for that as well. Thank you.
Start with the council, then we'll go to the residents, and then back to the council. So, council?
Mr. Mayor, we had three people, is that what I heard? We have 3 people?
Yes, 3 companies.
I wrote down Coastal, and I know about Waste Management. What's the other one?
Waste Pro?
Waste
Pro.
Pro?
Mhm.
And these are 5-year contracts?
Yes, we do 5-year service contracts with options for extensions.
I do have a question. If Councilman Lightfoot Ward is finished. Are you finished with your question? Okay. I know that Coastal is our current provider. Just wanted to know about the real-world quality of service. I mean, you can put anything down on a paper, but have we had a lot of complaints about the service that Coastal has provided for the past 5 years? And if so, what were the nature of those complaints?
We've had a lot of positive and some, some mistakes, and mostly it's about missed pickups, missed streets, missed, and so that has been the complaint that we've gotten most often. There have been, just some communication issues from time to time about pickup and missed streets, but also like alleyways. We didn't know that they needed to be cut back, so then we have to alert the residents and then the landscaper to cut back some of the alleyways that have been a problem for Coastal to get their equipment down from time to time. So that's really been the most of it.
Okay.
Anyone else, questions, comments?
Mayor,
Yes.
Dr. Lightfoot. Coastal had a 3-year contract,
No, Coastal had a 5-year contract with the village.
and the 5 years are up.
Yes.
Other than other than this being completed at this point in time, have there been a lot of problems expressed by the residents about Coastal?
They're overall good, but I just mentioned to the vice mayor, it's just been the complaint of missed streets. From time to time, we've had missed streets or missed bulk or what have you, so then we have to go back and call and then get them back out. But it's just been some missed pickups.
And so, Mayor, these 3 are people that responded to the request? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And we have had waste management before, yes?
Yes.
And we are now doing Coastal, is that right?
Currently, yes.
And the Waste Pro we've never had.
No.
That's all for me.
Thank you. Anyone else, questions, comments from the council?
Yeah, so if we were to switch companies, would we be switching garbage cans?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And so did we seek an extension, or as far as, I guess the reason I'm asking is because I understand we have a lot going on. We finished the audits recently. We have plenty to deal with in terms of the budget. I'm reluctant to change companies kind of in a feeling of overnight. I was driving today and noticing the trash cans and thinking about this, and I like the color of our trash cans. I like the combination of our trash can color with our recycling bin color. And it is a distinction, if for nothing else than use of a different company, but it is a distinction for people when they're traveling through the area and they come into El Portal on a trash pickup day. It looks different than the surrounding area. It feels different than the surrounding area. And overall, I like better the feeling within El Portal right now with the, aesthetic, right? Than I do about the surrounding area. And so, I have not received I have received complaints from residents regarding other vendors, other companies, but not to do with garbage pickup. To be fair to Waste Management, I also had not received resident complaints when Waste Management had been the vendor as well. So I'm talking about, contractors and things to this effect, more than this service. So barring no, for want of better term, catastrophic complaint from the residents, and then for me personally, I am reluctant to disrupt what seems to be a reasonably working flow. I am more than happy to review contract cost and everything to that effect. But again, as with many things I've been saying in recent meetings, I would like some more time to properly plan for a transition to a different company. I'd like some more time for, more time for just contract review of the 3 individual offerings. So that's my statement, I guess. I don't really have a question necessarily outside of would we have to switch garbage cans, and that gives me pause all by itself.
So Councilperson Urban, so basically what you were saying is, if we stay with the same company, then it's mute, right? Because nothing switches. But you're saying if we do choose to go with another company, you would want to maybe have an extension with the current company so that it gives time to figure out the details you're looking for?
I'm open to an extension with the current company so that basically for the purposes of an extensive contract review. But in terms of just, what we're seeing at the service, I don't know, I feel a little more prepared than in years past, having gone through this before now, finally, once or twice. And so understanding what the services are and what's outlined and what's presented already is fairly straightforward. It is. So I don't think there needs to be, I'm not proposing we take a year to just figure this out, but, a quarter might be helpful. But again, even looking at the price differentials, just, on the face of it right now, I am in the camp of reluctance to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is wise adage, I think, and so that's ultimately what I'm saying is I am reasonably pleased with the service as it stands. I like the aesthetic that we have. I do not have any egregious complaints or otherwise information that would tell me I need to switch companies. And so if there is truly a extensively more competitively advantaged company, again, as I mentioned in a previous meeting, it's not just price for me. If the service truly is a step above, that is absolutely worth looking at. So almost, I guess I would say to your question, I'm reluctant to change the aesthetic, and I don't find the service to be broken, and so, I'll leave it at that for the moment.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. So since we do have the individuals who responded to the RFP in the room, maybe they can give us some guidance on, at least from Waste Management and Waste Pro, if the colors of the receptacles could change or could remain the same, I guess. Can you guys replicate that brighter lime green type of receptacle, number one? And number two, in the responses, I saw some of the responders took a lot of time telling us about their transition teams. and the resources that would be available for a transition like this. And I would want to know from them if they feel like, and I'm saying that we will, but if we did happen to go the route of entering into a contract with a new provider, how quickly could their transition team get us up and running, or what would that look like?
Okay. And I'll invite them to come and answer that, but I will say that when this RFP process commenced, that I did state and let them know, yes, we have a timeline, and they are aware of the transition needing to happen very quickly if Coastal, if the incumbent wasn't selected.
Thank you so much. And could you just restate the timeline, just so we all know, when the contract would be ending? When would, if we selected Waste Management or Waste Pro, when would they need to be up and running, have us all with our receptacles and ready to take over?
The end of the contract with Coastal is September 30th.
Okay.
And so they would need to be in place on September 30th to transition the receptacles.
Perfect. Can someone from Waste Management or Waste Pro opine on that? Thank you. Same rules, right? Name and address for the record.
Hi, good evening. Jason Neal from Waste Management, actually known as WM now, 3401 Northwest 110th Street. I'd like to first start with the issue of the containers. What happens more often than not when you have custom containers with your logo on them, if there's a transition, the outgoing company typically sells them to the incoming company because they have no use for them. I can't speak for Coastal. I don't own the carts, but that's typically what's happened. We've transitioned with Coastal before, and we've done that process. If not, we can deliver carts. We would not be able to get that lime green color overnight, obviously. If needed, we would put our standard green carts out. They're dark green. And if I may, I have a couple other points on some similarities and differences in what you're reviewing right now. And I'd like to start, first of all, the manager put the memo out and referenced the prices of the three companies. However, the price for Coastal was understated because in their proposal, their price did not include the 10% franchise fee. So there's less of a difference than what you're looking at. If you're comparing $36.95 to $42.85, the actual price for Coastal with the 10% would be $40.65. So now the difference is only $2.20. Granted, they are still lower. Price was 50% of the overall evaluation, but Waste Management led on every other qualification category. The other difference is we use compressed natural gas in our trucks, which is environmentally friendly, fewer emissions, and much quieter trucks. So those are a couple of differences. Also, we propose to pick up on the same schedule Wednesday and Saturday. Coastal proposed changing to Monday and Saturday in their service schedule. So I just wanted to highlight those differences.
That was very useful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions? No.
Is Waste Pro
What?
representative here?
Good evening, Mayor Ken Rivera with Waste Pro, located at 17302 Pines Boulevard. As it relates to carts, we've transitioned, cities throughout Broward and Dade County. And as far as the color is concerned, depending on the manufacturer, we can come close to it as possible. But normally, in such a quick turnaround, the carts that you have today typically stay around until there's a real transition where there's a real plan and there's, you phase it in as you go. That is our experience when it comes to doing a transition plan. As far as a team, our team, we're ready to go, and obviously this is an RFP, so if we get lucky enough, and we'll just sit down and get ready to, plan.
And
a
you guys will be
transition.
ready by September 30th, so.
I'm standing here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good to know. Thank you. That's it for my questions.
Any other questions
Mayor,
or comments?
I'm sorry, Ms. Damaso from Coastal would like to just say something about the schedule.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Eileen Damaso. I'm with Coastal Waste and Recycling, 6605 Northwest 74th Avenue. Very quickly, the schedule will not change, and if there was mention of Monday, I don't know where that happened, but it's definitely just stays Wednesday and Saturdays. That does not change. It would not make any sense if it was Monday and Saturdays. So Wednesday and Saturdays remains the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just a question for the manager really quickly. That statement that Coastal's price, including the franchise fee, would bring that up to $40.65, is that correct?
Yes, $40.65.
All right.
Yes. Right, and so just to be clear, Coastal would be then at $40.64, or 65 cents, I'm sorry. Waste Pro would be at $43.05, and No. Waste Pro would be $43.05, and Waste Management would be $42.85. So they are all, kind of aligned here in price. And also, we'd like to, would you say something about pricing and what that means to the village? I would like to address what the pricing and the importance to the village, these prices, what this means.
Good evening, Harry Taubenfeld, CFO. Just to quantify the dollar amount, the difference of $2.20 for waste management, the difference between waste management and coastal on an annualized basis is a little under $23,000 for the year, and the differential for Waste Pro is a little under $25,000 for the year. So I just wanted to pass that message along.
Also, Mayor, let me just place on the record, our office has had absolutely nothing to do with this proposal going forward. But I do want to place on the record that my firm represents Waste Management on other matters. Depending on what you decide, we would likely, well, not likely, we would recuse ourselves and obtain some substitute counsel if it's a matter of having to negotiate with someone that is a client of our firm. To this point, we've had absolutely nothing to do with it. So I just want that on the record, that Waste Management is something that our firm for many years has represented on other matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Vice Mayor?
No, I had nothing.
Anyone else? I think Councilman Lightfoot Ward, you were going to chime in.
I'm looking at this, Mayor, from the point of view of, this has been a 5-year contract with Coastal. With it being a 5-year contract with Coastal, and I've not seen, heard, or realized any complaints up to this date, I am concerned about keeping the one company too often. I understand that we've had Coastal for 5 years, is that right? Okay, we've had Coastal for 5 years. Manager, correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of healthy for, from what I remember in the past, that we had someone so long. And I also noticed that Coastal doesn't have a problem when you call them back and say, hey guys, we kind of had a situation on this block, can you come back? I have not seen anyone say that they did not come back. They did come back.
Right, yes.
And generally speaking, without naming the other ones, I know that they came back. Coastal came back. If they missed something or somebody just couldn't run it together because they did come back. That to me was a guiding kind of a thing, because most garbage companies don't come back. They wait until the next time they want to pick it up. So that was one plus there. The other one was I've never found them not to be friendly. They're coming up my street. or the one over, wherever I am. I never found them to be unfriendly. They do know how to, you know, those of us that are military, they do know how to, you know, salute. They do speak to us. They don't act like they're not hearing us or seeing us. And that's a kind of a change for me. The previous companies in other cities and ours wasn't always like that. I was very, very interested in how Coastal was human. They didn't just pick up the trash. They were actually human. They wanted to know, you know, I could stop them when they come this way and then they go back my way. I said, do you know you did such and such and such? And he said, I did? And it's like, let me fix that. It's as easy. It's not something that they would argue with or anything like that. They want to make sure they do a real job. So I'm already kind of speaking when I think about this company that we've had that we did not have previously. And I appreciate how we got to Coastal in the beginning. I appreciate that.
Dr. Lightfoot Ward, I will speak to the length of time. You know, in the past, we, you know, have had long, long contracts. That's something we're trying to change. I mean, that's really important to, from the administration and finance aspect of the village. We'd like to always be on top of our contracts, make sure they're, you know, we have people performing and that they are, have not expired and then continue into, you know, eternity. But we've had that in the past prior to me coming here. And so I know Waste Management had been here for 15 years prior to this. But you know, at some point we said we love them and they got great service, but we have to do an RFP. And so the same applied for Coastal. We just had to do an RFP to keep these contracts current, but also because we missed the opportunity for any extensions, and they did too. They didn't extend with us either. We had to do the RFP. And so again, I state that all of the responders are very qualified and have excellent service, but you know, I leave that to the reviewers, the resident and the business and the Public Works Director, and to you all.
I do have one question kind of for each company. And so I am curious to know if any of the three companies have any form of unionized labor. I'm also curious about what starting salaries or starting wages, I should say, might be within each of the three companies. I would be curious about that.
Ken Rivera with Waste Pro. Great question, by the way. No, we're not our company is not a union company, and our labor rates, depending on the level of driving that you have, you know, you have 4 or 5 different level of drivers that start anywhere between $29 to $32 an hour to start. So, okay, thank you.
Hi, Trevor Black with Coastal Waste and Recycling. We also are not union, and our wages are similar to Waste Pro. We have drivers that make anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000 a year.
But as far as, so your drivers are hourly?
Correct.
Okay, so just as, I guess what a low starting hourly wage would be within the company would be ballpark of where?
$28 to $32 an hour. Thank you.
And for Waste Management, a similar amount. It varies with years of experience and type of truck, but you're looking at upper 20s, lower 30s typically to start. And we have a tremendous benefit package, including college reimbursement, not just for the employee, but for the family, so our employees can move up and do bigger and better things. So.
Any other questions from the council before I go to the?
Waste Management? In other words, is that budget that we have off by another $23,000 is what I just heard the difference annually is? And then the comparison of the cost, are we doing this on the entire 5-year value of the contract, or is it a year 1 comparison Are there increases year over year? I just would like to know the cost. Are we comparing apples to apples? Is it 5-year cost to 5-year cost, or average cost per year for all 5 years, or whatever? Just making sure that we're not paying something now versus having something go up over time. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, since we don't have that many residents, can you guys go ahead and answer that right now?
Sure. As it relates to the budget, I'll see if I answer all the questions. The budget assumed a number based on what we were currently paying. The number from Coastal actually comes in line with what we have budgeted for the current fiscal year. So to answer the resident's question, yes, it'd be an additional $22,000 to the budget if we chose waste management, and an additional $25,000 of expense if the council decides to go with Waste Pro.
Does the price go up every year? We'll answer that.
As far as pricing goes up, does the pricing go up every year? Typically, they do. There's a built-in CPI that's in the contract. So this current contract that is expiring, the rate did increase every year. So what you have now is year one. So yes, you're looking at a minimum $22,000 a year increase for over a 5-year period. So
You guys,
contracts haven't been fully negotiated yet.
Okay. And,
you guys,
okay, and just one more thing. This is a 96-gallon roller cart, so that's all the same, always. That's what was requested, and that will remain.
yeah. All right, so just remember, guys, we always have to keep things on the record, so just make sure that, you guys stay up here if you guys want to continue. You're good. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Continue to speak. Also, just so we have clarity, the reason why we're doing this differently is because these individuals are here, so we can ask them things in real time. I don't want you guys to think in future meeting that that public comment or good and welfare is for debate, which is not. It's for the public comment to come up and comment, and then we respond. That's how it typically goes. But because this is a special situation, I'm going to have this happen in more real time. All right, Ms. Edelman.
Thank you. Edna Edelman, 301 Northeast 88th Street. I want to echo some of the comments that I've heard. Councilman Ward, I've been happy, with Coastal, given what they are. My driver is friendly, he waves. I have no complaints. So I'm concerned about transitioning to a company that charges more. I don't see the point. I would like to get a new container because mine has had dead raccoons in it, and it smells. But that's obviously not a reason to transition. I can wash it. I agree with you. I like the lime green. But I am concerned about this process. We haven't negotiated the contract. We don't really know what the total cost of a 5-year contract would be, and we're voting on it tonight. It feels like we haven't really looked at it. I looked at the proposals on our website, and I noticed that the resident and the business owners' names were redacted, and that too doesn't really feel right. Having residents in committees was something that we've been asking for. So here we have one that we didn't know about, and their names are redacted. So I have an issue with that. Just want to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Edelman. Next.
Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. I want to read something in behalf of Greg Steer, my partner, who's traveling. It says, it was sent to all the council members and the mayor earlier today, but just so it's on the record. He says, you just started up this process in August. The contract ends in September, but I'm assuming it was a multi-year contract, so why did we wait until the final month? Regardless, it will be very easy to request a short extension from Coastal, considering they are in the running too. A contract this size, possibly $6 million over 15 years, should be properly and carefully vetted. You are basing the decision on recommendation from 3 people who are secret. Their names are redacted. Why? I find that highly irregular, if not suspicious, and contrary to the claims of open and transparent administration. Interestingly enough, both of these unknown persons rank waste management the highest, despite their pricing being considerably more. The 365 pages you posted doesn't even include copy of the proposed contract itself, just a pricing proposal. The devil is in the details. Having negotiated many of these myself, garbage companies are notorious for add-ons like automatic CPI increases and fuel surcharges. Why not pause the current contract with Coastal so we can see it for ourselves? I understand there was a recent unanticipated cost increase from them of $50,000 that hadn't even been budgeted. If Waste Management was the former provider, why did we Village change to Coastal in the first place? Was there an issue? If so, why are we considering them again? Coastal has offered pricing that is 16% less than WM Plus via seamless transition. So unless I'm missing something, it seems like a no-brainer. Have there been any issues with Coastal that we're not aware of? Finally, the pricing proposal from Coastal has an asterisk. Well, I guess that was already answered. On my behalf, I've been a property manager for large number of years for large companies, managing multifamilies, and part of my job was to review all those contracts that were reviewed individually, because like he said, the devil is on the details. All these surcharges, fees for bins that are overflown, really got out of control in no time. So without having a real contract, I don't think it's responsible to sign 5 years plus 2 renewals. If you were concerned about having the opportunity to review this on a periodic basis, I don't think this is the best way to go. Also, as far as I believe I'm very happy with the service, with the bulk pickup. I know they're very careful even with the plants outside. As opposed to Waste Management, who has a horrible review online. It's like 1.3, altogether. As far as from their employees, they don't have the best reviews either. So I am not sure why the rush. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowser. Next question, comments?
Good evening, everyone, Mayor, council members. My name is Ian McKenzie, 8950 Northeast 4th Avenue. I have some few things to say. I've lived in 4 areas in Miami-Dade County, unincorporated, City of Miami, Pinecrest, and El Portal. So I've got different perspectives of know what I kind of like for waste management. I like the colors of the bins. I do. I thought when we saw that was a great thing. So it'd be nice if whoever carries on would be great. The current Coastal, they do have great drivers. They're very nice. If you happen to forget that it's garbage day and you're wheeling out your thing and they pass you, they will come back and do pick up. That didn't happen with the Waste Management before. Anything's possible in the future, I guess. Regarding Miami-Dade County, and they have a system where you can drop off bulk waste at the waste transfer stations. And that's very convenient, because if you got a few little things, yeah, fine, it's great. It would be nice if we could do that. And the City of Miami, I think it's monthly. It used to be monthly, where they would come and they would pick up your bulk waste if you wanted it. It wasn't 4 times a year. And sometimes if you miss one, then you got another. It's like another half a year before you get the other pickup. So it does make an impact with everything. As far as So I encourage us to possibly explore that possibility. Can we, partner with Miami-Dade and get that included with our disposal? I know that anybody can go to the major landfill and pay a fee, you weigh your truck or whatever, and you can dispose of your bulk waste there, providing you have a yellow or orange hat and a vest that's equally reflective. For the proposals, I'm kind of concerned that Coastal did not put on the franchise fees on it. And they say it's 10%. Well, it's not written 10% anywhere. I don't know whether it was provided in writing to you guys, but if it's not in writing, what's guaranteeing that the franchise don't come back and say, hey, we want 12% or 13% or more? So, when you're evaluating that, I think that's really important. On an RFP, I would automatically exclude that RFP if I were reviewing them, and I've reviewed plenty in my lifetime. I've also prepared RFPs too. I think, Coastal has the best rate so far, but, Waste Management is a strong contender. I'd also like to know about, and hear from each company about your recycling, because you guys also take our recycling as well, and I hear that 10% of waste and recycling is only used or recycled. And, if it's less than that or whatever, is it even worthwhile us doing that? I mean, we're going through this. I know there's a company that specializes in glass recycling. You can put your glass bottles in there. Glass is infinitely recyclable, and it's a good thing. They grind it up into cullet and so forth, and they can sell it off and melt it down. So maybe we need to look and be more environmentally conscious, because it does affect us all and so forth. So is it possible also to maybe do bulk on demand, where we have maybe 4 pickups, but we can request certain weekends or something like that? Because I know I've missed quite a few of them when I really would have liked it, but I've been busy and so forth. Life happens for people. So I ask, if could that be done instead of especially special pickups? I've looked at dumpster rentals and so forth like that, and they're very expensive. To the point where that's why I ended up taking some bulk waste to my to the Mount Trashmore and paying for that. So, and that was actually very, economical. Also for elderly, I got to represent the elderly, because a lot of us are getting older, and small increases can affect the elderly, and we have to be conscious about that too. So far, I'm concerned about that. Also, Coastal, you missed 3 pickups minimum this year. And contrary to what I've been told, you didn't come back. I deliberately left my can outside, hoping that I get cited by zoning or coding so I could come back and then say, hey, they didn't come and pick it up. So, technically, you owe us 3 pickups. We paid for them. We didn't get the service. So, I think that needs to be considered too. Anyhow, thank you all. I hope good luck. And
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. I appreciate it. Next. Public comment.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm George Alvarez, 165 Northwest 88th Street. Mr. McKenzie's comments just reminded me, wasn't there a year that we only had 3 bulk pickups instead of 4? What, didn't one kind of get?
No, there was actually a year where we had 5. Yeah, when we switched over, we actually had 5 one year. From December to January, because we switched over, so we had 5 one year, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So it was like 8 over 2 years somehow. Okay. I heard some really good points by the council and by some of the residents. I was a little, I heard about the document that is these 3 proposals today. I tried to glance at them. I don't know, and I put it to you guys, if you feel like you had enough time reading through these proposals. Feel free to answer if you'd like to comment later. Having just heard from Ms. Baza, I'm sorry, that the contracts are not included, that there might, and I think Mr. Taubenfeld said that there's some negotiation left to be done. But if there is negotiation left to be done, and we don't have assurance about year-to-year increases, or at least predictable assurances that we can count on based on history, and we do have all these other questions, colors of cans notwithstanding, I think it's completely reasonable to ask our current company to give us some more time so that the dais can have more time to read through. There's like a few hundred pages of stuff. So I think that's perfectly reasonable, and if I have, unless I'm mistaken, when somebody mentioned, I don't know if that Mr. McKenzie, you mentioned that, I kind of thought that the dais was in agreement. So I'm going to encourage you guys to give yourselves more time to get to the devil that's in these details, irrespective of which company, all of whom seem more than competent, you choose. So I would encourage you guys to give yourselves a little bit more time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alvarez. Anyone else, any other comments? Public comment. Wait 1 second. Public comment. Any other comments from the public?
I'd like to see a comparison of 5 years of all.
Come to the mic.
Ian McKenzie, 8950 Northeast 4th Avenue. I'd like to see a comparison of all the fees for first year, second, third, fourth, anything, all comprehensive, including franchise fees, garbage can fees, any kind of fee that's associated, so we know as a citizen who are paying this on our dime, what we're getting and what it's really going to cost. I don't want hidden stuff. Like I said, I would have rejected an RFP that had, asterisks, other fees apply. No, we don't work this way. We need to know what exactly our fees are going to be, what the increases are going to be from year 1 to 5, budget it out, put it down on paper, put it in a grid on a table, so that way everybody can vote on it appropriately and get apples to apples, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Ms. McKenzie.
Just a little addendum. George Alvarez, 165 Northwest 88th Street. I believe the city manager made mention that RFPs of a shorter duration is something that is going to be explored. When I worked at a company, obviously it's a whole different thing than a municipality, and we dealt with very large garbage and recycling contracts. We were talking to people once a year, and there seemed to be a value in that in terms of the negotiations. So while 5 years may have been the tradition in the past, I think it would be wise to explore what the difference would end up being. Obviously, only history could tell this over a period of a couple different terms, whether it's 2-year terms, 3-year terms, or as we did in corporate America, 1-year terms. I'm sure that did not endear us, but they wanted our business nevertheless. So I do like that idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience before? And I'll allow you guys, if you guys want to come back up again really quick, I'll allow you guys. Mr. Neal, you wanted to jump in and say something? Say your address again and who you represent, Mr. Neal.
Yes, Jason Neal from WM 3401 Northwest 110th Street. I just wanted to correct a couple things that may be misunderstood. First of all, as much as I hate to defend my competitor, the franchise fees were set within the RFP at 10%. So my point in suggesting that their price did not include it, it was just what was on the memo. I'm sure their intent is to pay it, and it did say that in their proposal. That brought their price up to the $40.65. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it just closed the gap on the price. Speaking of price, there's concerns about the price going up year to year, and it will go up for CPI. but we all have the same CPI. It doesn't matter if it's Coastal, Waste Pro, or Waste Management. CPI is published by the government, and that's how your rates go up. Typically, they're capped at 5%. We included that within our proposal, so you know what there is. There is no overage fees. Another, I think, misunderstanding was there was, I think, a 15% difference in price. It's closer to 5% once the franchise fee is factored in there. The comments on recycling, glass is already included in your program. You get your service from Miami-Dade County, but all of your materials come to WM for processing. That's countywide. We have the largest recycling plant in the southeast, and all of your recycling comes here, including glass. So that's already covered. There is contamination in the recycling, as there is everywhere. However, it's still worthwhile to recycle. Just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it should be scrapped. Bulky waste can be changed if that's what the village wants to do. That would change the terms of the contract. It could change your pricing. So what the companies bid on was quarterly. So any changes could change your price either up or down. And so those are, I think, some of the major issues that you're looking at. If you feel like you need more time, we're not going anywhere. I don't know whether Coastal would want to extend for 3 months or not. I mean, that's between Coastal and the village. But if you feel like you need more time, you can certainly ask them. Or if you're ready to make the decision tonight, that's fine as well. You know, this was an RFP, not a bid. Bid, low price always wins. RFP, usually the highest ranked proposer wins the proposal. But again, that's totally on the village. You decide what's best for you. We're happy to serve. We were here for 15 years prior with a good service record. So there shouldn't be any fear that you're going to have runaway charges or hidden charges. That's already in the RFP. So even though there's minor things to negotiate in the contract, that's already covered. That was the basis of our bids. So you're already covered on that point. So just want to clarify those couple issues.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, may I also make some clarifications as well? I did not say we would be looking for shorter than 5-year contracts. I'm saying we wouldn't have a 15-year contract. That's why we did the RFP 5 years ago. Waste Management was our service provider for, I think, a little bit over 15 years. That's a very long contract without any, review or request for RFP. So that's why we did it then, and we're doing it again now. So it's 5 years. Understand we're a small staff, and when we run an RFP, it's a very, small staff. But we still get it done. The Mr. Neal did speak about the CPI as standard. It applies across the board to all of the proposers and even those outside of this group. We also have an RFP that kind of guides the contract. You see all of that if you saw the RFP. The negotiation is pretty minimal, but it is it will be outlined, and our attorney or our legal services, if not Mr. Geller's firm, an outside firm will handle that. But it is all outlined with the scope of service being within the RFP. So all of those items are in it. As far as recycling, this is not a recycling contract. This is only for solid waste and bulk. Recycling is a separate Miami-Dade contract, okay? It may be confusing because Coastal provided our recycling, but it's not, that's a separate contract. I will also speak to the bulk pickup being quarterly. The Village of El Portal has no alleys. So to have bulk on these streets all month long, every month, is going to be a very difficult thing for us to maintain. One, the safety of those very narrow and sometimes broken up roads. Two, the swales are, already experiencing some issues with permeability and flooding. And then also, it is unsightly. And so we've been told in the past, let's not do the once a month bulk, let's do the quarterly so that it remains pretty to see and it looks clean. And we're here for any other questions.
Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. I want to understand better. So if we are going basically on the ranking that was done by, unknown individuals, I think we definitely need more details. And the other point is this, how is it capped, especially with fuel surcharges and those items. I think it's important to be really specified within the contracts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, may I speak too about the redacted names? The resident and the business owner asked that I not put their name in there. They asked that because they wanted to remain anonymous in case it affected their service in some way if the ones that they chose weren't selected. And so I honored that request, as I would have done for anyone who would have asked.
Hi, everyone. Edna Edelman, 301 Northeast 88th Street. I just want to, this is completely anecdotal, but we do have an El Portal WhatsApp chat that you know about. Your wife's in it. Anyway, so it's blowing up with recommendations for coastal. And obviously that's not scientific, and maybe we should do a village-wide survey rather than just have a couple of people do the ranking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edelman. Oh, okay. Right after you.
Sorry, Ian McKenzie, 8950 Northeast 4th Avenue. I just also want to remind things that statistically for 2,000 people, at least I think that's what the population roughly is around Village of El Portal, the 3 people it's not statistically valid when you look at statistics to represent opinions and so forth like that. And then I do have a problem with people who don't want to commit their names to something because the business, we are adults, we have to be responsible, and if we're going to put input, we have to mention where we live, who we are when we approach any of this stuff, so it shouldn't be hidden information. It should be underneath the, Freedom of Information Act, that you can get this information about who's making these decisions, who's affecting us. If they don't want to sit on a committee or be part of it because they're the names, that should be red flags right there. Do they have another interest or something like that? But, you gotta, be responsible, and, I could be wrong, but I'm willing to say that, okay, I'm wrong. I didn't know about the recycling, that it was separate. I thought it was all because Coastal had both areas, but I stand corrected on that, and I'm glad. But people need to be accountable, and we need to know who's making our decisions that affect us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKenzie. Yes.
Eileen Damaso with Coastal. Basically, Mr. Neal with Waste Management, thank you very much for clarification, but I wanted to expand a little bit on the CPI. Incidentally, this year, the CPI went down. It was at like 2-point-something%. So it does fluctuate downwards too. The thing that is always pending and seems to go up has always been disposal. So that's one of the issues, that it will never go above a certain limit. If there's a limit on the CPI, which I think there is in this our current contract anyway. So there is, the disposal is the only thing that is kind of like a mystery to us. But there's no surcharges, there's no fuel surcharges or overages or anything like that. It's very clear. And the CPI could be, when we present a CPI, we have the backup of where it came from. It's not just like a number that we throw up. And like I said, this year, actually, the CPI, because I did it for another city, the collection portion of the CPI went down, because it was like 2.2% or something like that. So thank you again.
Let me ask you guys something real quick. For the CPI, which I forget, what is it, Consumer Price Index or something?
Yes.
All right. For the CPI, for it to be at a certain percentage, is it at a certain percentage, getting to Mr. McKenzie's point, is it at a certain percentage based on the overall price? So even if it's 2% or 5% or whatever it is the 2% for, let's say, Coastal coming in at a cheaper rate, is the absolute value monetarily cheaper even though the percentage is the same across the board?
No, the percentage just kind of changes because it's more, that we adjusted it to the collection. When it comes to disposal, the disposal is another story, and that disposal usually goes up 4 to 5%. And we haven't had the disposal from the county yet, but hearing the county commission meeting, it's bound to go up. But I don't know unless my counterparts will know anything better about the disposal in the Miami-Dade County. But yeah, no, we assessed on the CPI on the collection portion of it, but the disposal is the one that also drives it up. And there is an interlocal agreement with the village and the Miami-Dade County where you can actually take your bulk items to the transfer stations. So you do have because since we do collect, the county does collect well, they should, because they have an interlocal agreement, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, for the disposal of the CPI and disposal, yeah, please.
Name again?
Yes, and the company.
Okay. Jason Neal from WM, 3401 Northwest 110th Street. Mr. Masso was correct. There's two components to your price. There's a disposal and there's a CPI on the non-disposal cost. That's your typical model. The county raises disposal every year. This year, it's not final, but it's proposed at 2.3%. The county's having their second budget hearing on Thursday, so it should be approved one way or another after that. CPI was running as high as 9% at one point. Your current contract, I happen to know, was capped at 5%, the one with Coastal right now. But CPI is running considerably lower right now, as Mr. Masso pointed out. So the county disposal rate is also based on CPI. So rather than get hung up in the details, just know that CPI will drive your price. Whatever CPI is, that's what you can count on. It happens to be low right now, and who knows what it's going to be, but it is published independently. Also, I forgot to mention before, on the term of the contract, if you went for a one-year contract, no one else would be able to bid on this because of the capital of buying a truck and buying carts and everything. You wouldn't get any other proposals. So 5 years is kind of a sweet spot when it comes to bidding out a garbage contract. Some of them go 7 or 8, which is amortization of a truck, but anything less than 5, and you're probably going to end up with higher prices. So just a little word to the wise, but again, your price increases will be capped, and there are no fuel surcharges. They were not in the RFP. There's no other fees. So it is what it is. As the manager pointed out, there are minor things to negotiate, but the RFP dictated what we had to do and what the village expected. So, and as far as the evaluators, I have no idea who they were. It was redacted when I saw it, so it could be someone in this room. I have absolutely no idea who those people were. So I think it was suggested that we might have had something to do with it, or at least implied, and I have no idea. It was redacted to me. I guess if someone really wanted to dig in, you could get it through public records, anything that was in writing, but I really don't know what value that would be. I have to assume they voted in good faith on what they did. I have no reason to believe otherwise, but we had nothing to do with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any last questions or comments from the audience? Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to the council. Council, you heard some suggestions from the residents. You've heard some responses. I'm opening it back up to you guys. Any questions or comments?
I do have a question. First of all, thank you so much for clearing up all of the things. I appreciate that, your synopsis. But I did have a question. There was something mentioned that I do think I would like to know. Why did we switch from waste management to Coastal in the first place?
So 5 years ago, when I did this RFP process, we got 2 responders, Waste Management, Coastal. Coastal came in with the lowest price, and so we chose the lower price one. It was not based on service from Waste Management. In fact, I remember the council meeting, we were, it wasn't about service, it was about the price being lower.
That is so interesting to know. So I will say this, my sons are very big fans of Coastal. They love the guy who drives, they love the truck, but they also love the guy who's driving it. He's very kind to them. So you guys do provide good service. But I do understand that I am just one person. I'm on one street, so I have to kind of defer to the manager on this. Also, Mr. McKenzie made it clear earlier that there are people who have complaints about whether or not their service has either declined from switching to Coastal or from Waste Management to Coastal. I mean, I assume that the manager has a broader view. So from your perspective, did the complaints increase with the coastal versus when we had waste management? Is this about the same? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will say it's different. We had a firm that'd been with us for 15 years, so the complaints were relatively low. They knew the village, the residents knew them as well. So when Coastal came in, it was new and different. And so, yes, there were a lot of complaints because it was a different situation. And also we were changing out the container. So that was a huge issue when this contract started in 2020. But through the years, just ever so often, oh, my street was missed, we didn't get any bulk, those kinds of things. So bulk season, every, few months, we do get oh, they missed my street, or, from time to time, we'll get the trash. So
services have kind of normalized, and these complaints are few and far between?
They're regular, in terms of in terms of missing a street, but they will come and rectify it. They will come and pick it up, and they've, and also I will mention this too, whoever the service provider is, they will always do the extra bulk. They do it at a fee if a resident needs to do cleanup or something that's outside of the quarterly schedule, and that is an extra fee. Also, dumpsters are provided, again, for a fee.
I've had to do that before.
Yes.
You can call them out,
can
and then
call
they
them out,
will
they'll do
assess what you are
And they
proposing to have
That's
hauled
right.
away, and they'll charge you.
Absolutely. And one more thing, they have helped us out with illegal dumping too. And that's been the same for both, for others as well, for waste management as well. They would come get our bulk, or our illegal dumping.
So good to know. And then just a word on the redaction. I know there are certain people who don't want to participate unless their names are redacted. I think requiring everybody to have their name listed might significantly dwindle the number of people that are willing to review these large amount of documents. But if this is something that increases the transparency so that folks don't have those questions, that might be something to consider just putting out in the forefront. Just saying, hey, we won't be able to redact your name. Are you willing? But I also want to extend a really large thank you to the residents and business owners who were willing to do this task for us and review all of these documents and really put a lot of work into helping us analyze what is 3 very worthwhile companies. So I appreciate that, and please, whomever they are, please extend my thanks to them. That's the end of my comment.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor. Anyone else from the council?
I'd actually like to give Waste Pro an opportunity to let us know, about their service. So I don't discount smaller companies at all, and I understand that's part of why a cost might be higher, but I definitely want to give you an opportunity to tell us about the service your company provides.
Appreciate it. Again, Ken Rivera with Waste Pro, 17302 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. Waste Pro is a privately owned company, started back in 2001 with our, chairman of the board, John Jennings, and currently now we're located in Central Florida, in Longwood, Florida. That's where our corporate office is. Specifically to to this market, we are from Fort Pierce all the way down to Dade County. We service municipalities in Dade County like North Miami. We've had Biscayne Park. We service Hollywood, City of Miramar, Pembroke Pines. So we are a significant, a player in the market. We went from being a $100 million company 10 years ago to going to be 1.5, 1.6 billion in the next, you don't do that by not knowing what you're doing. So completely agree with the assessments from the comments from, my colleagues, Waste Management and Coastal, all, great companies, great individuals in the industry. But just one note that I would like to just make sure that it's clear that when it comes to the longevity of these type of contracts, Waste Pro looks for partnerships and things of that nature because these are essential services that are provided. And I heard about the transition in 2020, and let's not forget what was going on back then, right? So, it happens. Things happen, machinery, human beings, things occur. But really appreciate the opportunity to come up and have my 3 minutes of time, and appreciate it, and really good luck and fantastic process. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, so if I could, just real quick. So I am glad for this process to be occurring right now because I do think 5 years is a reasonable time. So even with like our, chartered positions, there should be reviews. 5 years is a reasonable time to have a review in that order. So I am very glad that we are doing this at 5 years and not, 15 or 16 years. Having said that, as I'm sitting here, I feel that from the CFO's comments regarding we are line priced with our budget under Coastal's proposal, so there's no adjustment needed other than the CPI discussion we've talked about, which is an annual occurrence. Is that right? So, and speaking to that line item congruency, that does take into account the asterisk of the missing 10% from the reported, but as far as we're concerned with that line item, the 10% is there, and that is in congruence. So in that, I just want to establish that there is not necessarily, there is a need to review this contract. I don't necessarily find a need to change vendors at this time.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Irvine. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Mayor,
Yes.
Dr. Lightfoot, can you hear me?
It doesn't sound like your mic's on. I can hear you, but I'm not sure everybody else can.
I really like it when we take time to look at something. I really do. My applause go out to the manager for making sure that we don't just make a decision. We make a good decision. What I can say about what I've experienced, not only does our current business, not only are they friendly, they don't mind stopping. They don't mind talking. They don't talk long. They just, hello, how you doing? All is well? And they keep going. Not only that, I've watched sometimes when the material might not have gone in where it should have into the truck, they'll stop and pick it up until it's all done. I've not seen that before in a long time. But last but not least, they're friendly. They sit behind this glass that looks like a real live, honest-to-goodness window on a house. They don't have any problems. Once they learn who you are, they're very communicative. And yet, they don't miss a beat. I've had more people on my side of town indicate how did we know to have them? I couldn't answer it. Told them I was in the hospital. But I do know that they're friendly. They will come back if they miss something or somebody was not able to put it out. I do know that. And so, Mr. Mayor, unless there's other comments, it seems that we're all on the same page. This has been a very trying situation. It's 5 years, right? We just came out of 5 years. And yet we haven't heard one person come to this council complaining about garbage pickup. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any last questions or comments from the council? Any last questions or comments from the audience, the residents? You guys good? All right, so discussion's over. Madam Clerk, we're going to move on to the resolution. Oh, yeah, one more? Okay, come.
Alexandra Baza, 120 Northwest 86th Street. So this is a 5-year contract with two more renewals? Is that what it is, or? Okay. 2 options to renew. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Baza. Attorney Geller, if we're gonna move on to the resolution, you guys, Attorney Geller, if you're gonna read that into the record.
Yes, sir. Item G1, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, Miami-Dade County, Florida, approving a proposal for solid waste services for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. Mayor, before you consider the resolution, there is a blank. Someone would have to move as to what name should be filled in the blank, and then you would pass that, and then you can do that, and that, then vote on the resolution.
So that can't be done with the motion?
Yeah, it absolutely can be done with the motion. Somebody has to make a motion, but if the motion is to pass it, you don't have to do it as a two-step process. You could, but you don't have to. You could simply have a motion that the resolution be approved with blank name inserted. If that motion passes, then you've passed the resolution with that name inserted. But somebody has to say, you can't pass the resolution in blank, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Being that said, for the resolution, council, do we have a motion?
So move.
Move, what's the motion for?
No, you
what
have to
com-
specify, I'm sorry.
I move. They retain coastal recycling for the upcoming new contract.
We have a motion for coastal waste. We have a motion for coastal waste. Do we have a second for coastal waste?
I'll second.
We have a motion, Madam Clerk, we have a second. May I please have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward,
Yes.
Councilperson Erbaum,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate that. Thank you all for everyone who was here and for all of you guys who were here. We really appreciate all of you guys coming out for your time. Thank you very much. That being said, we're going to move on to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward first? Or-
Yep, and then second.
And then
Second.
Vice Mayor Martin was
Yeah.
my second. I appreciate both of them. Shout out to Councilperson Erbaum. The special council meeting for Wednesday, September 17th is adjourned at 8:23 p.m.
Oh,
Have a
aye.
great night.